Yo, so I've been playing a ton of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and by a ton I mean just like the past couple of days I've been able to get some time in. Man, that game has been a lot of fun. My only complaint is that it's not on the Steam Deck. Honestly, I am finding myself needing to be able to play games more and more on that form factor because it's becoming increasingly more difficult for me to get time in here other than making videos. There are a few things. One, I don't want to be in here for prolonged periods of time because it just feels very, very isolated. And two, actually, that's pretty much it. I mean, I like sitting at my desk and doing the things, but I personally I like the mobility that I get with the Steam Deck and the Nintendo Switch. So today, I'm going to talk about kind of the ultimate 1-2 punch and why I believe that, I think the Steam Deck and the Switch combo, or the Steam Deck and the portable Nintendo combo, is really going to be the dadsterpiece. Masterpiece, dadsterpiece, get it? Cool. Couple things. One, I'm not going to fully finish this cup of coffee because part of it is going to be for my wife. Okay? So don't get on me for not finishing this cup of coffee, and I can already see the comments. You guys are going to be like, quitter, you didn't do it. You didn't finish your coffee. Haha, why aren't you finishing your coffee? And, well, joke's on you because I have something to say about the comments now, okay? First thing is that I've been reading them, and I do my best to read them as much as I can, but, you guys have been overwhelmingly positive and awesome. And sometimes I read them and they aren't. And, this is the thing that happens with someone who, struggles with self-image issues. Reading comments, though they can be really encouraging at times, the ones that are a little bit close to the truth hurt and kind of take me out. And so being self-aware and understanding who I am as a person, I have to limit my exposure to that. Otherwise, it's just going to put me in a really, really weird place and have me question whether or not this is the right decision. And so, yes, I can get 150 comments saying, this is awesome, thank you. And one that says, hey, man, this guy, and this is a real one, this guy seems like he's so depressed and that his children are such a burden. And, that's just not the way a dad should act. And that's the one that I'm going to keep in my heart because that's the way that life works. And that was a real comment that happened. And it was a really tough one to read because I'm someone who feels that when it comes to how you are perceived, there's only so much you can do, right? So first, I may present myself as a certain type of person, right? And someone's like, man, that guy seems really, really wound tight and somewhat angry all the time. They misunderstood my actions, but I still gave them the opportunity to misunderstand it. And so I think that it's important to take responsibility for your own perception, not your own perception, the way people perceive you, and go out of your way to be a certain, I don't know how to explain it perfectly, but I think that the way that people perceive you is actually your responsibility. I guess that's the best way to put it. Can you help it? No, you can't, but you can aid in it. That's the way to say it. So I want to address something that I saw in the cups last time. I made a cup that was about, Dads, I See You. And there were a few people that commented saying, I stopped following this guy because he just seems like he's so depressed all the time and that his kids are a burden. I want to first say that I am not at all depressed. Rather, I am someone who is highly introspective and am constantly trying to wrestle with ideas. And doing that in a public space can look like I am someone who is unsure or even unhappy because I'm wrestling with an idea that may be heavier than it needs to be. And so that's one thing. That's the perception thing. Two, as far as my kids being a burden, I think it's quite the opposite. I am wrestling with these ideas with my children and my wife being the standard at which I should serve. So am I doing this and is this going to cause a problem with either my children or with my wife? And in doing so, I bring them into every single decision I make. That may be a little bit uncommon, but every single decision I make, from what I eat all the way to what I do in my free time. Yes, what I eat. Why what I eat? Because there's a couple things. One, If I was to eat just what I wanted to eat, I would get really fat and be unable to properly serve my family. 2, if I was to eat what I wanted to eat, I would spend a tremendous amount of money and cause some financial stress on my family as well. So it goes down to the very, very minute things of, yes, do I eat potato chips all the time? No, because I don't want to be a fat slob. Also, do I eat ribeye steaks every moment of every day? No, because I can't afford it. So, that's the eat part, right? Coming to video games. Should I be in my office playing video games for hours on end? No. Should I, at the end of my day, play video games instead of spending time with my wife? Probably not, right? In balancing that and learning what's the nuance. Where do I allow myself to do this stuff? Where do I serve my family and stuff like that? I think that's the biggest thing. And I may have presented it in such a way that had created an element of, oh, this guy seems like he's burdened by these decisions. I'm not burdened by them, but I do rather look at it with weight and gravity. Ooh, almost didn't do that. And so where someone might be like, dude, it doesn't matter, just play video games in your office, I want to thoughtfully and intentionally make decisions. And so you might think, the viewer might think, hey, this guy really thinks that this is like a big issue. It's not that it's a big issue. It's that I want to make sure that if I make a decision, that I'm aware of that decision and what's the cost benefit, right? And some people may think that cost benefit analysis isn't necessary for something as trivial as sitting down and playing video games for half an hour. And hey, if that's the case for you, great. It's not that important. But for me, it is, because there are a lot of things that happen throughout the day, and I want to make sure that I am properly managing. And I'm just trying to navigate this. First-time father, well, second time if you include the second kid, but first-time husband. Like, I want to make sure that these things are properly balanced. It's the very reason why today's topic is that portable thing. I think, honestly, the more and more that I have kind of stepped away from this room, and I think that that's something I'm also trying to balance and understand, is I used to be totally cool with just being in here, being in my library, and just like doing me, dude. And as my daughter's getting older and she's capable and able to play other things, right? Go outside and play catch, play tag, hide and seek. Sure, she should have independent play. I'm a huge fan of independent play. On the same note, though, is there are only so many years in a life of a child where they are going to want to participate in certain things. And so there's that balance, so to speak. Should I say, hey, you go do your own thing and I'm going to sit in here and do my own thing? Or if I'm available and free, it's like, hey, instead of you doing your own thing and I doing my own thing, why don't together we do something and grow and make something together, right? Or invite my child in here, as she does in the morning sometimes. If I've woken up early to play video games, which I often do on the weekends, she comes and sits on my lap while I play through some Final Fantasy VII or do whatever it may be. And that's kind of the time I have in here. But out on the couch or in the living room or anywhere in the house, my kid may cuddle up next to me while I'm on my Steam Deck, or if she's watching something or coloring or something, then that is a moment in which I can be in that room with her. And what I think the really magical thing about these portable devices for dads has changed the game for us is it allows us to be in a space with our kids, right? Or with our wife or whatever it may be. And I think that for me has been so transformative and is the very reason why I'm starting to look at some of these more traditional ways of doing things and being like, maybe this isn't the right play. And at no point was I ever, or have I ever felt like this is awful. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like it's awful at all. In fact, I feel like in the past, since November 1st, so was it November, so that'd be December, January, February, and March, and April's tomorrow. So for the past 4 months, I feel like I've grown exponentially for the better because of this very introspective and intentional process. I'm thankful for it, very thankful for it. And I really want to reiterate that at no means do I feel like I'm giving anything up as far as my hobbies are concerned. But I will say this, when it comes to hobbies, though they are important for us to cherish, everything in life is a season. So one of my hobbies is fitness, CrossFit, right? That kind of thing. I was no joke, 2 to 4 hours a day of work, whether it was working out, stretching, doing all this stuff, preparing food, obsessing over macros, whatever it was for performance. That was my life for years, a hobby. I was a single man. Well, I wasn't married, so I was dating someone. But if you're not married, you're single. That's the way I look at it, because you have no responsibility to the person themselves, right? You're just testing. That may be a terrible way to look at it, and I understand that now, but honestly, that's kind of how I look, right? Marriage is where that commitment happens, okay? At least in my book. At any rate, I was single, I was selfish, I was looking after myself. That's it. I had nothing else out there, and I just worked out all day, every day, right? And now today, there's elements of that which I have to gut check. I really do, because my inclination is to ignore and indulge. That is my inclination as a human, right? Selfish person. And so I have to be so aware of that. I would very, very simply, if not intentionally thinking through things, ignore and indulge. That is my predisposition. I am a very, very unaware person when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'll give you an example. This was back when I was single. By single, I mean just dating. My girlfriend at the time, it was her birthday, and my buddy came from out of town. Actually, it wasn't her birthday. It was the 4th of July. We were supposed to do something together, and he showed up, and he was someone I worked out with a lot. We spent the whole day doing workouts. We were exhausted by the end of the day. The date night I was supposed to have, I was too tired to go on. And I thought everything was fine. She was very upset. Very upset. And I used to do stuff like that on a regular basis because I, again, would ignore and indulge. And so I think it's important to be able to notice and know things about yourself and set up different things in your life to make sure that you don't fall into some of those old ways, right? Whether it's a habit or addiction or whatever it may be, I think it's important to be able to self-identify, or identify, maybe it takes someone else to identify it in you, but then stay self-aware about it. And so that's the very reason why, again, this room, though it's so wonderful and great, and I've spent a lot of time curating it to be a very restful place for me, I have to be careful, because it would be easier for me to ignore and indulge, right? Indulge in video games or whatever it may be, than it would be for me to say, hey, let's balance it. So I have to be overly thoughtful. And in this space, it's an odd relationship we have. I am extremely open about these thoughts. So you are getting to look into someone who's processing something live, right? I'm processing ideas live. I may say something one day and be like, this is what I'm thinking. And then the next day be like, man, that was a really crazy thing to think about, right? Because that's how this is. This is a daily, very, very raw kind of interaction. And so I think that the very, very true statement that person made in their own observation, they thought, hey, this dude looks depressed, this dude looks crazy, this dude, whatever it may be, he looks like he's burdened. I very much so want to say that looked that way. Yeah, I went back and watched. I'm like, wow, you're right. That does look that way. I'm doing a poor job at presenting why I think through the things the way I do. And so with the Nintendo Switch, right, bringing it back to that, and the Steam Deck, both of which I've been using a lot lately, especially the Nintendo Switch again, I've seen the very, very purpose that they play in our dad lives, right? We have the Nintendo Switch allowing us access to just a plentiful of games that we can share with our children. That's the biggest thing. It's tough to share games with the Steam Deck. Sure, you can get 2-player games and dock it and do that technically, but it's not as easy as it is with a Nintendo Switch. So while I believed the Nintendo Switch maybe a dozen cups back to be something that was otherwise dead in my kind of gaming thing, I see the purpose in it now. I'm able to play multiplayer games with my family. I'm able to share games with my children. I'm able to actually play the games that are going to be better suited for them. Because though my daughter likes to sit on my lap and watch me play Final Fantasy VII, she is more excited about stuff like Kingdom Hearts, but even more excited about stuff like Mario. I mean, she's always in here playing with my Mario toys. Also, we changed it out, by the way. Morning View, Incubus, come on. Great album. Great album. I've been listening to that. It's been fun. My daughter likes it too. And so I see the combo there, but the biggest part about it is the flexibility in the gaming style that you can have, right? You can play it wherever, however, whenever, right? And you're going to have that kind of experience. I think that whatever Nintendo is going to bring to the table here in 2025, which I think that's what we're looking at, is going to be something special. I'm really, really hoping it's going to be a portable, because if it's not a portable, then I'm going to be reluctant to invest in it, because at this point in my life, and for the foreseeable future, at least the next generation, as my kids are growing through the next, their first 10 years of life, the idea of sitting in one spot and playing video games is just not as, I would say, realistic. Maybe later, maybe when they're in middle school, high school even, it might be more because they're out with their friends, I have more time to myself, but at least in these first dozen years of life, this stage is very, very different. And now that same person who accused me of being depressed and looking at my children as a burden also said, hey, you know what? I have more kids than you, I work harder than you, and I have a business that's bigger than yours, and I still have time to play video games. You just don't have your priorities right. At least that's what I saw. That was my perception of what they said. And I would say, hey, maybe they have a better balance or something like that, but in their statement, their children were older, and I think that maybe this is something, my situation might be more indicative of someone's younger children, right? My situation is very unique, I would say, for me, at least in my given parameters. I am a work-from-home/stay-at-home dad building a online business, right? A content creation business where I have 0 employees. Everything from taxes to editing videos to posting and managing a Discord community is done by just me. Sure, there are people in the Discord that also help manage, but it's just me. That's it, right? Every moment of my day that has anything to do with this is only me from start to finish. I don't have the money for adults. I don't have the money for other people. It's just me. Every person who helps is a volunteer, which is incredible. Which, hey, also, we have merch, which is linked below, and if you want to become a channel member, you'll become a dad. It's the cheapest way you can become a dad. It's $5, $4.99 a month. That's $60 a year. That's $300 over the course of 5 years. I'll tell you right now, you'll spend $300 over the course of a week with your children, but you can be a dad for $4.99. I really like that that's what I can say about this community. At any rate, my time is different. Very different. My work is different. It's transparent. It's often criticized by the public on a regular basis. Why, when it comes to comments, I'm gonna tell you right now, though I've seen such beautiful comments there, I am at a point now where I need to be careful. If you want to have further conversations, Discord's the place to go. Discord's absolutely the place to go, and you can be a dad and join Discord. That happens. That's actually the only way to become a member of the Discord moving forward, starting tomorrow. April 1st is the premium only, so not premium, but members only crew moving forward. I say that because we are pulled in so many different directions, and if any of us are to maintain a hobby, that hobby needs to serve us in some certain way. I've said it before, video games are supposed to serve me, I'm not supposed to serve them. And so meeting me where I'm at is something that's so special about something like the Steam Deck, as well as the Nintendo Switch or something, any of those combinations. And the game libraries, I feel, are more important than I originally anticipated, right? I'm able to play more games that are geared towards me and are filling the interests that I have in my 30s, right, with kids and wanting to play nice story-based, narrative-based games. But that's not something that I can easily share with my children. I'm not gonna sit down and try to explain Chrono Trigger to my 3.5-year-old. But if I was to play some Super Mario Wonder sitting on the couch and have her watch Peach do her thing or Mario do his thing, and maybe play some, Zelda, play some Zelda and run around and have her see different things, or even Kingdom Hearts, that might be something that's a little bit more geared towards her. And that is, and I say her because she's the only one that really understands. My 9-month-old doesn't know what the heck's going on. He's just trying to figure out when the next boobing. And so I share this because I first wanted to address some of those comments, state that I'm gonna have to stay away from them because they're not good for me sometimes, and lastly, really lean into the fact that I've doubled down on what I said before, which is the portable way of playing is, for me, and I would argue for most dads, going to be such a liberating way, and also a way for you to help get through and maybe navigate this video game hobby with children. Yes, you can at the end of your day sit down and play? That person was like, yeah, I play from 10 to 11 every day. Great. Awesome. You have your time slot. But maybe, you're not like me, which is someone who doesn't play video games that late, because I believe that it disrupts good sleep, and good sleep is important to be a good high performer, right? And so I try to get off of all screens and anything somewhere between half an hour to an hour before bedtime and switch over to reading, which is why I'm going through the mangas. I decided to read instead of watch because I don't watch TV before bed. Along with that, I wake up super early because I do live streams at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time on JDX Coffee. I did one on this channel, just one, and I didn't really feel like it was helpful for the channel, so I do live streams. I'm figuring out the schedule there, but I do that. And if I don't, then I'm waking up early to, I'm still, before even I stream, wake up early to read my Bible, to do, a small 10 to 15 minute workout, whether it's just burpees or pull-ups, whatever it may be, and to be healthy. And I don't stay up late and play video games because I believe it is unhealthy for the brain, right? And so someone else might not care that much about their health, and that's fine if that is their thing. Me, I am someone who does. I am extremely aware of different things. Part of the reason why I drink black coffee and not sweet drinks and eat paleo and work out every day and sometimes multiple times a day is to maintain that level of health, because I have a responsibility to be here as long as I can, right? As long as I possibly can, to provide, to nurture, to take care of, and to provide insight on life experiences once my children are adults. I'm supposed to be here. That's my job, is to be here. And so I do everything in my power to do so. So those late night gaming sessions, though I do them from time to time, aren't my norm, right? I wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day by alarm, and so I shut it down around 9 p.m. I do my best to. Sometimes it gets in later, but I shut it down because my health is non-negotiable. Absolutely. Because I'm not here for me, I'm here for them. And so that maybe shots fired at that person. Hey, you don't really care about, that sleep stuff. Cool. Fine. It's cool. No big deal. Some people function on less sleep, they think. I don't think there's any science behind it. I think there's no science behind it. I don't function off of low sleep. I'm forced to at times. And at this time in my life, I really do try to maintain a very heavy balance between video games. But at the end of my day, once little one's down, I have two options. I can ignore and indulge, or, if my wife wants to watch a show by herself, she can, and do my own thing at night, or spend quality time with my wife, which I think in the grand scheme of things, there's no hobby that can exist that is better or takes precedent to quality time with family. Zero. I think if there's ever an opportunity for you to spend quality time with a spouse or children or family, that should always take the front seat, and your hobby should never, ever get in the way of that. Ever. And that is something that I think I've done a poor job communicating why I have found less and less time. And maybe some of it has to do with trying to, incite some sort of question in the click and combo of thumbnail and title. My apologies if you've gotten the wrong message. I certainly hope that you would actually watch the video instead of have, like a TikTok mindset where you just read a thing, watch the first 30 seconds, see the thumbnail, and then decide that the whole video is about that. Hey, not everybody has long attention spans. Some people, they just don't have the ability to watch videos for a long time. Maybe that's what happened. But I'm simply stating that when it comes to this beautiful thing, I need it to be able to meet me where I'm at. And portable gaming is the absolute way to do it, because family comes first and health also is very important. Gaming comes last. That's how I look at it. Cool. Awesome. I hope I answered some questions in there. If you want to join live streams, 5:30 a.m., you'll see it on JDX Coffee. It's linked below. It's my streaming channel. I stream only there. Tried one here. It did terribly. A lot of people showed up. It was great, but my channel tanked. So I see the writing. I get it. JDX Coffee. I will be streaming April 1st, Monday morning. We will be doing it. We're having fun. 5:30 a.m. It'll be a good time. That's that. Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. Awesome. I believe that this is enough coffee for my wife, so I'm going to go give that to her. All right. As always,